My daughter went on a picnic with my parents and sister that afternoon. She called me, sobbing. Mom, help me. They left me and took my cousin. I called my parents immediately. My mother laughed. Oh, sorry. We forgot her. In the background, my sister laughed. But they had no idea they would regret this. But before I begin, please like and subscribe to the channel. And we'd love to hear which part of the world are you joining us from. Let us know. Now, let's dive into today's story. Tamsin Reed hated asking her parents for anything. The words stuck in her throat every time like swallowing glass. But here she was, phone pressed against her ear, staring at the kitchen wall while her daughter pulled on socks in the hallway. Mom, I know it's short notice, Tamsin said. She kept her voice level. Calm, the way she always did when she needed something from them. My schedule changed. They're putting me on Saturdays now. On the other end of the line, her mother's voice carried that familiar tone, half distracted, half annoyed. This weekend, Tamsin, we have plans. I wouldn't ask if I had another option. Tamsin watched Maeve through the doorway. One purple sock, one with dinosaurs. The girl never matched them, and Tamsin had stopped trying to make her. Daycare's closed on weekends. I just need someone to watch her for the day. Her mother sighed, the sound crackling through the phone. Well, we're taking Rowan to the lake, the one near Blowing Rock. Your sister arranged a whole picnic thing. Tamsin's stomach tightened. That's fine. Maeve loves the lake. It's supposed to be family time. She is family. The pause stretched too long. Tamsin heard her father's voice in the background, muffled. Then her mother came back on. Fine. Bring her by around 10. But Tamsin, we're not running a daycare service. I know. Thank you. Kelsey's bringing Rowan, so at least the kids can play together. Tamsin closed her eyes. I appreciate it, Mom. Really. We'll be at the picnic tables on the north side, the ones near the playground. You know where I mean. I know. And Tamsin. Her mother's voice shifted, softening in that way that always preceded criticism. Try not to worry so much. She'll be fine. There it was, the refrain of Tamsin's entire childhood. You worry too much. You're too sensitive. You're making things harder than they need to be. I'll drop her off at 10, Tamsin said. She hung up before her mother could say anything else. Maeve appeared in the doorway, backpack slung over one shoulder. Her dark hair hung loose around her face, and her eyes, brown like Tamsin's, searched her mother's expression. Are we going somewhere? Maeve asked. Tamsin smiled. She'd gotten good at that. You're spending the day with Grandma and Grandpa. At the lake. Maeve's face lit up. Really? Can I bring my sketchbook? Of course. And the colored pencils. Whatever you want, sweetheart. Maeve bounced on her toes, then stopped. You're working. Just for the day. They changed my shift. Tamsin crossed the kitchen and knelt down in front of her daughter. She smoothed Maeve's hair back from her face. Grandma said Aunt Kelsey's bringing Rowan. You two can play. Maeve wrinkled her nose. Rowan only wants to play his games. Then you can draw. Or explore. Just stay where Grandma can see you, okay? Okay. Tamsin pulled her daughter close, breathing in the smell of her strawberry shampoo. I'll pick you up around 4. Maybe we can stop for ice cream on the way home. Can I get 2 scoops? We'll see. They both knew that meant yes. The drive to her parents' house took 20 minutes. Tamsin knew every turn, every stop sign. She'd grown up in this town, gone to school here, left for college, and come back when things fell apart with Maeve's father. The mountains rose around them, still green despite the late summer heat. Tourists clogged the main roads, chasing waterfalls and craft beer. Tamsin turned onto her parents' street and felt her shoulders tense. Their house sat at the end of a cul-de-sac, a two-story colonial with blue shutters and a garden her mother tended obsessively. Kelsey's SUV was already in the driveway. Tamsin parked on the street. "Is Rowan already here?" Maeve asked, peering through the window. "Looks like it." They walked up the driveway together. Tamsin carried Maeve's backpack while Maeve clutched her sketchbook against her chest. Before Tamsin could knock, the door swung open. Her mother stood there, already dressed for the lake in khaki shorts and a visor. "There you are. We were starting to wonder if you'd changed your mind." "Traffic," Tamsin lied. Her mother stepped aside to let them in. The house smelled like coffee and something sweet baking. In the living room, Kelsey sat on the couch scrolling through her phone. Rowan, 6 years old and loud, was building something with blocks in the corner. "Hey," Kelsey said without looking up. "Hey." Tamsin's father emerged from the kitchen, wiping his hands on a dish towel. He smiled when he saw Maeve. "There's my girl. You ready for an adventure?" Maeve nodded, suddenly shy. "We packed sandwiches," her mother said. "And your father bought those chips you like. The barbecue ones." "Thanks, Mom." Her mother glanced at her watch. "You should probably get going. Your shift starts at 11, doesn't it?" 11:30. Still, traffic gets bad this time of year. Tamsin knelt down in front of Maeve again. She took both of her daughter's hands. "Remember what I said. Stay where Grandma can see you." "I will. And if you need me, you call." "Okay." "Okay, Mama." Tamsin kissed her forehead, then stood. She looked at her mother. "I'll be done around 4. I can pick her up from the lake if you text me the exact spot." Her mother waved a hand. "We'll bring her back here. You can get her from the house." "Are you sure?" "Tamsin." Her mother's voice sharpened. "Go to work. We've got this." Tamsin wanted to say something else, wanted to make sure they understood. But Kelsey was watching now, one eyebrow raised, and her father had already turned back to the kitchen. "Okay," Tamsin said. "Thank you." She kissed Maeve one more time and walked out. The drive to the distribution center felt longer than usual. Tamsin gripped the steering wheel and tried to shake the unease sitting heavy in her chest. It was just a day at the lake. Her parents had watched Maeve before. Nothing would happen. "You worry too much." She turned up the radio and focused on the road. The distribution center sat on the outskirts of town, a massive warehouse that smelled like cardboard and diesel fuel. Tamsin clocked in at 11:28 and spent the next 4 hours scanning boxes, checking inventory, and trying not to think about Maeve. She took her break at 2:30, sat in her car with the AC running, and ate a protein bar that tasted like chalk. Her phone sat on the passenger seat. No messages. That was good. That meant everything was fine. She was back inside, halfway through scanning a pallet of canned goods, when her phone buzzed in her pocket. Tamsin pulled it out. Maeve's name flashed on the screen. Her heart kicked against her ribs. She stepped away from the pallet and answered. "Maeve? What's wrong?" "Mama." Her daughter's voice came through, small and shaky. "I don't know where they went." The warehouse noise faded. Everything faded except Maeve's voice. "Slow down, baby. What happened? Where are you?" "I'm at the tables. The ones by the water," Grandma said. Maeve's voice cracked. "She said they were going to get something from the car. Aunt Kelsey took Rowan. I waited like she told me." Tamsin was already moving, heading for the door. "How long ago?" "I don't know. A while. I keep waiting, but no one's coming back." "Are you alone right now?" "Yes." The word came out as barely more than a whisper. Tamsin shoved through the warehouse door and started running across the parking lot. "Listen to me, Maeve. I need you to stay exactly where you are. Don't move from those tables. Do you understand?" "I'm scared." "I know, sweetheart. I know you are. But I'm coming right now. I'm getting in the car. I'll be there as fast as I can." She fumbled with her keys, hands shaking. Got the door open. Engine started. Mama. I'm here. I'm driving. Tell me exactly where you are. Can you see the playground? Yes. It's behind me. Okay. Good. Are there other people around? Some families. There's a man fishing. That's good. That's really good. Tamsin pulled onto the main road. 20 minutes to the lake. She could make it in 15. Stay on the phone with me. Can you do that? Okay. Tamsin pressed the accelerator. Her mind raced. They'd left her. Just walked away and left her 8-year-old daughter alone at a public lake. She called her mother's number on the car's Bluetooth, keeping Maeve on her phone. No answer. She tried her sister. Straight to voicemail. Mama, I'm really scared. I know, baby. I'm almost there. Just keep talking to me. Tell me what you see. Maeve's voice steadied slightly. There's ducks. 3 of them. Swimming. That's nice. What else? My sketchbooks, still on the table. And my pencils. Good. That's perfect. You stay right there with your things. Tamsin flew through a yellow light. Her hands ached from gripping the wheel. She tried her mother again. This time, after 6 rings, someone picked up. Hello. Her mother's voice sounded bright. Casual. Like nothing was wrong. Where are you? Tamsin forced the words out evenly. Oh, we're loading the car. Why? Where's Maeve? A pause. What do you mean? Isn't she with you? Tamsin's vision blurred. You left her at the lake. Alone. What? No, we thought Kelsey. Her mother's voice grew distant. Did you grab Maeve? Tamsin heard her sister respond muffled. Then her mother came back on. We thought she was with Kelsey. Or, honey, where did you last see her? At the picnic tables, Tamsin said, voice like ice. Where you told her to wait. She's been there alone for the past 30 minutes. Oh my God, we didn't, Tamsin, we were just... Tamsin hung up. Mama. Maeve's voice wavered through the phone. Are they coming back? I'm coming, baby. 2 more minutes. She took the turn into the lake parking area too fast. Gravel sprayed under her tires. She parked illegally and ran. The picnic area spread out near the water. Tables scattered under pine trees. Tamsin spotted Maeve immediately, a small figure sitting alone at a table. Phone pressed to her ear, looking impossibly tiny. Maeve! Her daughter's head jerked up. Relief flooded her face. She stood, legs wobbling. Tamsin reached her in seconds and dropped to her knees, pulling Maeve into her arms. Her daughter's whole body trembled. Tamsin held her tight, one hand cradling the back of her head, and felt tears sting her own eyes. You're okay, Tamsin whispered. You're okay. I've got you. Maeve pressed her face into Tamsin's shoulder and finally started crying. Hard, gasping sobs that shook her small frame. I waited, Maeve choked out. I waited like you said. I didn't move. I know you did. You were so brave. Tamsin pulled back just enough to look at her daughter's face. Tear-streaked, terrified, 8 years old and abandoned at a public lake. Rage burned through her, white-hot and clarifying. She gathered Maeve's things, the sketchbook, the pencils, a half-empty water bottle, and took her daughter's hand. Come on, let's go home. They were almost to the car when her mother and sister appeared, rushing across the parking lot. Maeve! Her mother's voice rang out. Sweetheart, we're so sorry. We didn't realize. Tamsin unlocked the car and opened the passenger door. She helped Maeve inside, buckled her seatbelt, closed the door. Then she turned to face them. Her mother was breathing hard, face flushed. Kelsey stood beside her, arms crossed, defensive. Tamsin, thank God you got here, her mother said. We were just coming back. We thought. You left my child alone. Her mother's expression shifted. It was a misunderstanding. Kelsey thought she was with me. I thought she was with Kelsey. You told her to wait at the table. Tamsin's voice came out quiet, controlled. You told her you'd be right back, and then you left. We were getting Rowan to the bathroom, Kelsey cut in. He was about to have an accident. We had to move fast. Then you take Maeve with you. She wanted to stay with her drawings. She's 8 years old. Her mother reached out, touching Tamsin's arm. Honey, you're upset. I understand. But she's fine. Nothing happened. Tamsin looked at her mother's hand on her arm, then at her mother's face, then at her sister, who wouldn't quite meet her eyes. She was terrified, Tamsin said. Her mother's face softened into something that might have been sympathy, but her next words ruined it. She's 8, not a baby. Kids play at lakes all the time. She was perfectly safe. Behind them, through the car window, Maeve was still crying. Tamsin stepped back, pulling her arm free. Don't call me. Don't text. We're done. Tamsin. We're done. She got in the car and drove away without looking back. Maeve didn't speak on the drive home. She stared out the window, arms wrapped around herself, tears still sliding down her cheeks. Tamsin kept glancing over, checking, making sure she was still breathing. When they pulled into the driveway of their small rental house, Maeve finally whispered, Am I in trouble? Tamsin's heart cracked clean through. No, sweetheart. No. You did everything exactly right. I waited. I didn't move. I know you did. I remembered what you taught me, about staying in one place if I get lost. Tamsin turned off the engine and reached over, taking Maeve's hand. You were so smart, so brave. I'm so proud of you. Then why are you mad? I'm not mad at you. Not at all. At Grandma. Tamsin chose her words carefully. Yes, but that's not something you need to worry about. Maeve nodded. She looked small in the passenger seat, feet barely touching the floor. Can we still get ice cream? Absolutely. They went inside first. Tamsin made Maeve wash her face and change into comfortable clothes. Then they drove to the ice cream shop in town, the one with the hand-painted sign and flavors that changed every week. Maeve got 2 scoops, mint chip and cookie dough. Tamsin got nothing, just watched her daughter eat slowly, methodically, working through the trauma one careful bite at a time. When they got home, Maeve asked if she could watch a movie. Tamsin said yes. They curled up on the couch together, Maeve tucked under Tamsin's arm, and played something animated and bright. Tamsin didn't absorb a single frame. She just held her daughter and tried to keep her breathing steady. Around 7, Maeve fell asleep. Tamsin carried her to bed, pulled the blankets up and kissed her forehead. Then she went back to the living room and sat in the dark. Her phone buzzed. Her mother's name lit up the screen. Tamsin declined the call. It buzzed again. A text this time. Please call me. We need to talk about this. Tamsin deleted it. Another text. Another call. Kelsey this time. Then her father. She turned off her phone. The house settled around her. Outside, crickets sang. A car passed on the street. Tamsin sat on the couch and felt something fundamental shift inside her chest. Realignment of reality she'd been avoiding her whole life. This wasn't the first time. That was what hurt most. This wasn't new. It was just the first time she couldn't ignore it. She thought about birthdays where no one called. Christmas mornings where Kelsey's kids got the good presents and Maeve got whatever was left. Family dinners where Maeve was expected to entertain herself while Rowan got everyone's attention. The way her mother always had time for Kelsey but was too busy for Tamsin. The way her father changed the subject whenever Tamsin needed advice. Maeve had learned to wait, to be easy, to not ask for too much, because that's what Tamsin had taught her, unintentionally, desperately by being that way herself. Tamsin got up and found a notebook in the kitchen drawer. She sat at the table with a pen and started writing. She wrote down today. The time, the location, what Maeve said, what her mother said, every detail she could remember. Then she kept going backward. She wrote down other times, other moments, holidays and birthdays and ordinary afternoons when something felt wrong, but she'd convinced herself she was being too sensitive. She filled 6 pages before her hand cramped. When she finally stopped, the clock read past midnight. Tamsin looked at what she'd written. Years of neglect in blue ink, and felt something settle inside her. This wasn't going to happen again. Not to Maeve. Not anymore. The next week moved slowly. Maeve went back to school, but she'd started having nightmares. She woke up crying twice, saying she couldn't find Tamsin. On Wednesday morning, she clung to her mother at drop-off, and Tamsin had to call the teacher to walk her inside. Tamsin's phone stayed off for 3 days. When she finally turned it back on, there were 42 messages. Most were from her mother. Short at first. Call me. We need to talk. Then progressively longer. Justifications. Explanations. Then anger. You're acting like a child. We made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. Your father is very upset with you. Kelsey's messages were shorter. You're being ridiculous. She's fine. Grow up. Tamsin deleted them all. She didn't block the numbers. Not yet. She wanted to see what came next. What came next was her Aunt Joanna, her mother's sister, who lived 2 hours away and only showed up for major holidays. Your mother is beside herself, Joanna said when Tamsin finally answered. She's crying every night. She thinks you hate her. Tamsin was at work, standing in the employee break room with stale coffee and fluorescent lights. Did she tell you what happened? She said there was a misunderstanding at the lake. A misunderstanding. Tamsin, honey, I know your mother can be difficult, but she loves Maeve. Enough to abandon her at a public lake? Joanna sighed. That's not fair. They didn't abandon her. They thought she was with someone else. She was 8 years old and alone for half an hour. And she was fine. Tamsin closed her eyes. She had nightmares for 3 days. Kids are resilient. Don't. Tamsin's voice came out sharp. Don't tell me my daughter is resilient when she's waking up crying because she's scared I won't come back. Silence on the other end. I appreciate you calling, Tamsin said quietly, but this isn't your business. She's my sister, and Maeve's my daughter. Tamsin hung up. The calls kept coming. Family friends, distant cousins, her mother's book club friend who Tamsin had met exactly twice. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone thought they understood. You know how your mother is. She didn't mean it. Family forgives. Tamsin stopped answering unknown numbers. At home, she focused on Maeve. They established new routines. Movie nights on Tuesday. Pizza dinner every Friday. Tamsin rearranged her schedule so she could pick Maeve up from school every day. No more relying on grandparents. No more last-minute favors. Maeve seemed better. The nightmares slowed. She started drawing again, filling her sketchbook with pictures of birds and flowers and their house with elaborate gardens. 2 weeks after the lake, Tamsin took her to a child therapist. The therapist's office was warm and cluttered with toys. Maeve went in alone for the first session, while Tamsin sat in the waiting room, reading the same magazine paragraph over and over. When Maeve came out, she looked tired but okay. The therapist asked to speak with Tamsin privately. She's processing fear of abandonment, the therapist said. She was a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and graying hair. It's a natural response to what happened. With consistent reassurance and safety, she should recover well. How long? That depends. Weeks, maybe months. She's young, which helps. The therapist leaned forward slightly. Has the person who left her reached out? Apologized? No. Do you plan to allow contact? No. The therapist nodded. That's probably wise. Children need to know the adults in their life will protect them, even from other adults. Tamsin left feeling validated and exhausted in equal measure. That night, after Maeve went to bed, Tamsin sat at her laptop and started researching. She looked up grandparents' rights in North Carolina, child welfare laws, what constituted neglect, what her options were if her parents pushed for visitation. She made notes, organized files, built a case out of timestamps and text messages and her own careful documentation. She hoped she wouldn't need it, but she prepared anyway. 3 weeks after the lake, a letter arrived. Tamsin recognized her mother's handwriting on the envelope. She waited until Maeve was at school before opening it. The letter was 4 pages long, handwritten. Her mother's script, usually so neat, looked rushed. It started with an apology. Sort of. Dear Tamsin, I'm sorry you feel hurt by what happened at the lake. Tamsin's jaw tightened. You feel hurt. Not, I'm sorry for what I did. For what you feel. She kept reading. The letter went on to explain, again, how it had been a misunderstanding, how they'd thought Maeve was safe, how Rowan had really needed a bathroom, how Kelsey had been stressed, how they'd come right back, how they never meant for any of this to happen. Then the tone shifted. But your reaction has been extreme. We understand you were scared, but refusing to speak to us for nearly a month is cruel. Your father is heartbroken. I'm devastated. Kelsey thinks you're using this as an excuse to push us away, and frankly, I'm starting to agree. Maeve is our granddaughter. We love her. We have a right to see her. You can't keep her from us over one mistake. That's not how family works. I'm asking you, begging you, to reconsider. Let us see Maeve, even supervised if that makes you feel better. We can meet at a park. You can be there the whole time. But she needs her grandparents, and we need her. Please don't make this harder than it needs to be. Tamsin read the letter 3 times. Then she folded it, put it back in the envelope, and filed it with her other documentation. She didn't respond. That weekend, her father showed up at her house. Tamsin was in the front yard with Maeve, pulling weeds from the garden bed. Maeve saw him first. Grandpa. Tamsin looked up. Her father stood at the end of the driveway, hands in his pockets, looking older than she remembered. Hi, Maeve, he said softly. Maeve glanced at her mother, uncertain. Go inside, sweetheart, Tamsin said. But inside, now. Maeve dropped her trowel and ran into the house. Tamsin stood, brushing dirt from her knees. You can't be here. I just want to talk. You should have called. You won't answer. He took a step closer. Tamsin, please. Your mother is falling apart. Good. He flinched. That's cruel. Leaving Maeve alone at a public lake was cruel. Tamsin crossed her arms. Refusing to take responsibility is cruel. Calling me dramatic for protecting my daughter is cruel. Do you want me to keep going? We made a mistake. You did. Then let us apologize properly. Let us make it right. You had 3 weeks to apologize. You sent a letter blaming me instead. Her father's expression hardened. You didn't even read it properly then. Your mother was trying to. I read it. Tamsin's voice stayed level. She apologized for my feelings, not for her actions. There's a difference. You're splitting hairs. I'm protecting my child. From her grandparents. He shook his head. From people who love her. From people who forgot about her. The words hung in the air. Her father looked away, toward the house, toward the street, anywhere but at Tamsin. When he finally spoke again, his voice was quiet. Families forgive. Families protect children first. Your mother is hurting. So is Maeve. He met her eyes then. She seems fine. Tamsin felt something snap inside her. Get off my property. Tamsin. I'm not asking. You need to leave. Now, if you show up here again without my permission, I'll call the police." Her father's face went pale. "You wouldn't. Try me." They stared at each other. Then her father turned and walked back to his car. He didn't look back. Tamsin waited until he pulled away before going inside. Her hands were shaking. Maeve was at the kitchen table, coloring with fierce concentration. "Is Grandpa mad at us?" she asked without looking up. "No, baby." "Are you mad at him?" Tamsin sat down beside her. "I'm just keeping us safe." Maeve nodded slowly. She added green to a tree she was drawing. "I like it being just us." "Me too." That night, Tamsin got the call she'd been dreading. Her mother's voice was cold. "I tried to be reasonable. I tried to be patient, but you've left me no choice." "What does that mean?" "I've spoken to a lawyer about visitation rights. Grandparents have rights in North Carolina. Did you know that?" Tamsin's pulse kicked up, but she kept her voice steady. "Yes, I know." "Then you know I can petition for court-ordered visitation. You can try." "I will." Her mother's voice cracked slightly. "I don't want to, Tamsin, but you're not giving me a choice. You're keeping my granddaughter from me because of one mistake, one moment that hurt your pride. It hurt my daughter. She's fine now, isn't she?" Tamsin closed her eyes. "If you pursue legal action, you won't like what happens next." "Is that a threat?" "It's a fact." Her mother laughed, harsh and bitter. "You think you're protecting her, but all you're doing is teaching her to be scared, to hold grudges, to cut people out over nothing." "Over nothing," Tamsin repeated. "Yes, over nothing." "Then I guess we have nothing more to talk about." Tamsin hung up. She sat in the dark living room, phone in her lap, and felt the weight of what was coming. Her mother would petition for visitation. That much was clear, and Tamsin would have to fight it. She pulled out her laptop and sent an email to a family law attorney she'd researched weeks ago. The message was brief, explaining the situation, requesting a consultation, attaching her documentation. The reply came the next morning. "Based on what you've described, you have a strong case for restricting visitation. Let's meet this week." The mediator's office smelled like carpet cleaner and old paper. Tamsin sat in a vinyl chair, folder in her lap, and tried to ignore the way her mother was staring at her from across the room. They'd been here for 20 minutes. The mediator, a tired-looking woman named Patricia, had explained the process twice. Now she was reviewing Tamsin's documentation. Kelsey sat next to their mother, scrolling through her phone. Their father sat stiff and silent, hands folded on his lap. Patricia finally looked up. "Ms. Reed, you've provided quite a bit of documentation here. I wanted to be thorough." "You certainly were." Patricia glanced at Tamsin's mother. "Mrs. Reed, have you reviewed this material?" "I don't need to." Her mother's voice was tight. "I know what happened. It was a misunderstanding. According to the Lake Ranger's incident report, your granddaughter was alone for approximately 40 minutes. We came right back, after being notified by her mother." Tamsin's mother shifted in her seat. "We got confused about who had her. It happens." Patricia set down the folder. "The issue here isn't just the incident at the lake. Ms. Reed has documented a pattern of behavior spanning several years." "A pattern?" Kelsey finally looked up. "This is ridiculous." "Ms. Reed." Patricia turned to Tamsin. "Can you explain what you mean by pattern?" Tamsin had prepared for this. She'd practiced in front of the mirror. "My daughter has been treated as an afterthought in my family for her entire life. Forgotten at holidays, excluded from activities, expected to accommodate my sister's children without reciprocation." "That's not true," her mother said. "Last Christmas, Rowan got 7 presents. Maeve got 2. Rowan is younger." He's only 2 years younger. Tamsin's voice stayed calm. At Thanksgiving 2 years ago, Maeve was told there wasn't room at the table. She ate in the kitchen alone. She was 6 years old. She wanted to watch TV. She wanted to sit with her family. You told her the adults needed the space. Kelsey leaned forward. You're cherry-picking incidents to make us look bad. I'm providing context. Patricia held up a hand. Let's stay focused. Mrs. Reed, you're petitioning for visitation rights. Why? Tamsin's mother took a breath. When she spoke, her voice wavered slightly. Because I love my granddaughter. Because I want to be part of her life. Because my daughter is using one mistake to punish me. Do you believe you made a mistake? Yes, of course. Have you apologized? I've tried. She won't speak to me. Patricia looked at Tamsin. Is that accurate? She sent a letter apologizing for my feelings, not for abandoning my daughter. I didn't abandon her. You left her alone at a public lake. A child. In your care. Tamsin met her mother's eyes. You told her to wait. You promised you'd be right back. Then you left with my sister, got in your car, and drove away. We thought she was with your father. She was 8 years old. It was your responsibility to know where she was. The room fell silent. Patricia wrote something down. Ms. Reed, what would visitation need to look like for you to feel your daughter would be safe? Supervised. By me. In a public location. For no more than an hour at a time. Tamsin's mother made a sound somewhere between a laugh and a sob. That's humiliating. That's what I'm offering. I'm her grandmother. I shouldn't have to be monitored like a criminal. Then you shouldn't have lost my trust. Kelsey stood up. This is insane. You're being completely unreasonable. Patricia spoke firmly. Please sit down. Kelsey didn't. She looked at Tamsin with something close to disgust. You know what your problem is? You've always played the victim. Always acted like everyone's out to get you. This is just another chance for you to make everything about yourself. Sit down, Tamsin's father said quietly. Kelsey ignored him. Maeve is fine. She's over it. The only person still making this a big deal is you. And why? Because your mad mom pays more attention to me? Because you're jealous. Tamsin stood slowly. She picked up her folder. I'm done here. Patricia looked alarmed. Ms. Reed, we still have. I offered supervised visitation. 1 hour. Public location. If that's not acceptable, then we'll let a judge decide. Tamsin looked at her mother. But I'm not subjecting my daughter to people who think her trauma is inconvenient. She doesn't have trauma, her mother snapped. She has you, making her think she does. Tamsin walked to the door. She paused with her hand on the handle. For 8 years, I convinced myself I was being too sensitive, that I was imagining the way you treated Maeve differently, the way you always made time for Kelsey but were too busy for me, the way you forgot birthdays and missed school events and made excuses. She turned back. Then you left my daughter alone at a lake, and I realized I wasn't being too sensitive. I was being too accommodating. Her mother's face crumpled. Tamsin, please. I'm not playing victim. I'm being a mother. Tamsin walked out. She made it to her car before the shaking started. She gripped the steering wheel and breathed through it, in for 4, out for 6, until her hand steadied. Her phone buzzed. Patricia's name flashed on the screen. Tamsin answered. Yes. I think we should schedule a follow-up, Patricia said. Emotions are running high right now, but if we can get everyone in the room again, maybe. There's nothing to follow up on. I made my offer. If they reject it, I'll see them in court. Ms. Reed, mediation exists to avoid court. I understand that, but my priority isn't avoiding conflict. It's protecting my daughter. A pause. Your position is clear. Is it reasonable? Legally, Yes, a parent's right to determine who has access to their child is well established. Grandparents' rights exist, but they're not absolute. Given the documented incident and your offer of supervised visitation, a judge would likely side with you. Thank you. For what it's worth, Patricia added, you seem like you're making the best decision you can with the information you have. Tamsin closed her eyes. I am. She hung up and drove home. Maeve was with a babysitter, a college student from the next street over who Tamsin had vetted thoroughly. When Tamsin walked in, Maeve was building a fort out of couch cushions. How was it? The babysitter asked. Fine. Thank you for staying. After the babysitter left, Maeve crawled into Tamsin's lap. Did you see Grandma? I did. Was she mad? Tamsin smoothed her daughter's hair. She's sad, but that's not your problem. Do I have to see her? Not if you don't want to. Maeve was quiet for a moment. Then, I don't want to. Okay. Is that bad? No, sweetheart. It's not bad. That night, after Maeve fell asleep, Tamsin opened her laptop. There was an email from her attorney. Mediation unsuccessful. Recommend preparing for court if they proceed. Based on documentation and mediator's notes, we're in a strong position. Tamsin replied, Understood. Keep me updated. She closed the laptop and sat in the dark living room. Tomorrow she'd go back to work. She'd pack Maeve's lunch, drop her at school, scan boxes at the distribution center for 8 hours. She'd come home tired and make dinner and help with homework. Normal life, small rhythms, the kind of stability her daughter needed. But underneath it all, this new current ran through everything, the certainty that she'd done the right thing, that protecting Maeve mattered more than keeping peace, that sometimes love meant drawing hard lines. Her phone buzzed. Her sister's name appeared. Tamsin almost declined, but curiosity won. What? You're really going to do this? Kelsey's voice was sharp. Drag us to court? Make Mom hire a lawyer? Over nothing. Over my daughter's safety. She's safe. She always was. You're just bitter. Tamsin felt that familiar pull, the old instinct to defend herself, to explain, to make Kelsey understand. She pushed it down. I'm not doing this with you. Mom's devastated. You know that? She cries every night. I'm sorry she's upset. No, you're not. You're enjoying this. I'm hanging up now. You always do this. Kelsey's voice rose, always playing the victim, always making everything harder than it needs to be. Always. Tamsin ended the call. Then, finally, she blocked the number. She blocked her mother's number, her father's, every aunt, uncle, and cousin who'd called to lecture her about family loyalty. The silence that followed felt profound. Maeve adjusted better than Tamsin expected. She stopped asking about her grandparents. The nightmares faded completely. She joined a hiking club at school and came home every week with stories about trails and birds she'd seen. One Saturday morning, 3 months after the lake, Maeve asked, Can we go to the bookstore? Sure. What are you looking for? A field guide. For birds. Ms. Patterson says I should learn to identify them. They spent an hour at the bookstore, Maeve carefully comparing different guides, reading descriptions aloud, asking Tamsin's opinion. She finally chose one with detailed illustrations and range maps. On the way home, she said, Rowan's in my grade now. Tamsin's hands tightened on the wheel. Yeah. He tried to talk to me at recess. What did he say? He said his mom said I was being mean, that I should talk to Grandma. Tamsin pulled over. She put the car in park and turned to face her daughter. What did you tell him? I told him no. Maeve's voice was small but certain. Then I went to play with Sophie and Emma. Tamsin felt pride swell in her chest. That was exactly right. He got mad. That's okay. He's allowed to have feelings, but you're allowed to say no. Maeve nodded. She looked out the window. I like our house being quiet. Me too, baby. Do you miss them? It was the first time Maeve had asked directly. Tamsin considered lying, making it easier, but Maeve deserved the truth. Sometimes I miss the idea of them, the family I wanted us to have, but I don't miss the way they made us feel. Small, Maeve said. Yeah, small. They sat there for a moment, car idling on the side of the road. Then Maeve opened her new field guide and started reading about cardinals. 6 months after the lake, the court letter arrived. Tamsin's mother had officially petitioned for grandparents' visitation rights. A hearing was scheduled for 2 months out. Tamsin called her attorney. Expected, her attorney said. We're prepared. You have documentation, witness statements, the mediator's report. The incident at the lake is well documented. You've offered reasonable supervised visitation, and they refused. What are our chances? Honestly, very good. North Carolina law prioritizes parental rights. Grandparents have to prove that denying visitation would harm the child. Given everything that's happened, they won't be able to do that. And if they do, then we appeal. But I don't think it'll come to that. Tamsin hung up and looked at the letter again. The hearing date, the formal language, the weight of it all. She thought about calling her mother. Maybe one more try at conversation. Maybe an attempt at resolution. Then she remembered Maeve, small and terrified at those picnic tables. She remembered the nightmares, the clinging, the fear in her daughter's voice when she'd said, I don't know where they went. She folded the letter and filed it away. The next morning, she told Maeve about the court hearing. She kept it simple. Grandma wants a judge to say she can visit you. The judge will ask me some questions. Then the judge will decide. Maeve looked up from her breakfast. Will I have to see her? Not unless you want to. I don't want to. Then I'll make sure you don't have to. Maeve went back to her cereal. After a moment, she said, You promise? I promise. 2 weeks before the hearing, Tamsin got a call from an unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered. Tamsin? It's Joanna. Her aunt, her mother's sister. Tamsin almost hung up. What do you want? I heard about the court date. Then you know we have nothing to discuss. I'm not calling to lecture you. I'm calling because... Joanna sighed. Your mother told me everything. About the lake. About what she said afterward. And I wanted you to know I believe you. Tamsin pulled the phone away from her ear and stared at it, then put it back. What? I've watched how she treats you. How she treats Maeve. I've never said anything because she's my sister and it felt disloyal. But after what happened, I can't stay quiet anymore. Tamsin sat down slowly. Okay. She won't take responsibility. She won't admit she was wrong. She's convinced herself you're being vindictive when really you're just protecting your daughter. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry I called you unreasonable. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. Tears stung Tamsin's eyes. Thank you. If you need a witness for court, I'll do it. You'd testify against your own sister? I'd testify for my niece. And my great-niece. Someone needs to. After they hung up, Tamsin sat at her kitchen table and cried. Not from sadness. From relief. From validation. From the simple gift of being believed. The night before the hearing, Tamsin couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, running through testimony in her head. Her attorney had prepared her. They'd practiced questions. But still, anxiety twisted in her gut. Around 2 a.m, her bedroom door creaked open. Mama. Tamsin sat up. Maeve? What's wrong? I had a dream. Come here. Maeve climbed into bed and curled against Tamsin's side. She was warm and small and smelled like the lavender soap they used. Want to tell me about it? Tamsin asked. I was at the lake again. But this time you didn't come. Tamsin's heart contracted. That won't happen. You know that, right? I know. They lay together in the dark. Tamsin stroked Maeve's hair, counting breaths, waiting for her daughter to fall back asleep. Mama. Maeve whispered, Yeah, baby. Will the judge be mad at me? No, the judge won't be mad at anyone. Will I have to talk to him? I don't think so, but if you do, you just tell the truth. That's all. Okay. Maeve fell asleep eventually. Tamsin didn't. She held her daughter and watched the room slowly lighten with dawn and thought about everything they'd survived to get to this moment. The courthouse was smaller than Tamsin expected, just a brick building on a side street, American flag hanging limply in the humid morning air. She held Maeve's hand as they walked up the steps, her attorney beside them. Remember, her attorney said quietly, stay calm, answer questions directly, don't volunteer extra information. I remember. Maeve squeezed her hand. Tamsin had left her with the babysitter originally, but Maeve had begged to come. I want to be there, she'd said, in case the judge needs to see me. The courtroom was wood-paneled and formal. Tamsin's mother sat on the other side with her own attorney, a man in his 50s with a severe expression. Kelsey sat in the gallery behind them. Their father was notably absent. The judge entered. Everyone stood. The proceeding began. Tamsin's mother testified first. She spoke about her relationship with Maeve, her desire to be involved, her belief that Tamsin was being punitive. Her voice shook with emotion. She dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. I made a mistake, she said. One mistake. And my daughter is punishing me by keeping my granddaughter away. It's cruel. It's harmful to Maeve, who needs her family. Tamsin's attorney cross-examined. Mrs. Reed, when did you apologize to your granddaughter for leaving her alone at the lake? Tamsin's mother hesitated. I tried to speak with her, but... The question was when. Did you apologize directly to Maeve? Tamsin wouldn't let me see her. Did you send a letter? A card? I know. Did you attempt to apologize to Maeve in any way? I apologized to Tamsin. That wasn't the question. The judge interjected. Please answer yes or no, Mrs. Reed. No, I did not apologize directly to Maeve. Tamsin's attorney continued. You mentioned this was one mistake. How would you characterize your relationship with Maeve before the incident at the lake? We were close. We saw each other regularly. How regularly? Monthly, sometimes more. Ms. Reed's documentation shows you missed Maeve's 6th, 7th, and 8th birthday celebrations. Is that accurate? Tamsin's mother shifted. I had conflicts. I sent gifts. You attended 3 birthday parties for your other grandchild, Rowan, during that same period. Correct. Those were different circumstances. How so? Kelsey asked me to help plan them. Did Tamsin ask you to attend Maeve's birthdays? A long pause. Yes. And you declined. I had conflicts. The cross-examination continued. With each question, the picture became clearer. The pattern of neglect, the preferential treatment, the casual dismissal of Maeve's needs. When it was Tamsin's turn to testify, she felt oddly calm. She explained the incident at the lake, the phone call from Maeve, the drive there, finding her daughter alone and terrified. What did your mother say when you confronted her? Her attorney asked. She said Maeve was 8, not a baby. She laughed and said Maeve would be fine. How did that make you feel? Like my daughter's fear didn't matter. What happened in the weeks that followed? Maeve had nightmares. She became anxious about me leaving. She clung to me at school drop-off. I took her to a therapist. What did the therapist say? That Maeve was experiencing fear of abandonment. that it would take time and consistency to help her feel safe again. And your mother's response to this? She told me I was exaggerating, that I was making Maeve think she had trauma when she didn't. Tamsin's mother's attorney cross-examined. He tried to paint her as overprotective, as holding a grudge, as using Maeve as a weapon. Ms. Reed, isn't it true you've always had a difficult relationship with your mother? Yes. And isn't it true you've resented the attention your sister received? I've resented the way my daughter has been treated differently than my sister's son. But you admit there's been tension between you and your mother for years. Yes. So, isn't it possible you're using this incident as justification to cut your mother out of your life? Tamsin met his eyes. I'm using this incident as a reason to protect my child. Your mother has offered to attend counseling, to work on the relationship. You've refused. Because the issue isn't our relationship. It's her lack of accountability for endangering my daughter. Endangering? Ms. Reed, your daughter was alone for less than an hour in a public space. No harm came to her. She was terrified. She had nightmares. She developed anxiety about being left. That's harm. Harm you've perpetuated by refusing to allow any contact with her grandmother. I offered supervised visitation. They refused. Supervised visitation is humiliating for a grandmother who's done nothing wrong. She left my daughter alone at a lake. That's not nothing. The judge held up a hand. Let's move on. The final witness was Aunt Joanna. She testified about the pattern of behavior she'd observed over the years. The missed birthdays, the forgotten holidays, the way Tamsin's mother consistently prioritized Kelsey's children over Maeve. Did you ever speak with Mrs. Reed about this? Tamsin's attorney asked. I tried once. She said I was being too sensitive, that I was reading into things. What's your professional background? I'm a child psychologist. That got the judge's attention. In your professional opinion, would maintaining contact with her grandmother be beneficial for Maeve at this time? Joanna looked at Tamsin's mother, then back at the judge. No, not without genuine acknowledgement of what happened and a commitment to change. Children need adults who validate their feelings and take responsibility for mistakes. Mrs. Reed has done neither. After testimony concluded, the judge reviewed documents. The ranger's incident report, Tamsin's detailed timeline, text messages, the therapist's notes. Finally, he spoke. This court takes grandparents right seriously. Children benefit from relationships with extended family when those relationships are healthy and safe. However, the constitutional right of parents to make decisions about their children's welfare takes precedence. Based on the evidence presented, I find that Ms. Reed has made a good faith determination that unsupervised contact with the petitioners would not be in her daughter's best interest. The incident at the lake constitutes neglect, regardless of intent. The petitioner's subsequent response, minimizing the child's distress, refusing accountability, and pressuring the mother to resume contact, demonstrates a concerning lack of judgment. Ms. Reed has offered supervised visitation in public locations. This is reasonable under the circumstances. The petitioner's refusal suggests their interest lies more in asserting their rights than in the child's well-being. Petition denied. The gavel fell. Tamsin sat very still. Her attorney touched her arm. That's it. You won. I won, Tamsin repeated. Across the aisle, her mother was crying. Kelsey had her arm around her. Neither of them looked at Tamsin. Tamsin gathered her papers and walked out. Maeve was waiting in the hallway with the babysitter, sitting on a bench with her bird guide. Mama! Tamsin knelt down and pulled her daughter into her arms. Hey, baby. What happened? The judge said you don't have to see Grandma unless you want to. Maeve hugged her tighter. Good. They walked out of courthouse into bright afternoon sunshine. The babysitter drove off. Tamsin stood on the sidewalk with her daughter, breathing deeply. "Can we get ice cream?" Maeve asked. Tamsin laughed, surprised by the normalcy of the question, by the way life just continued. "Absolutely." They got 2 scoops, sat at a picnic table outside the shop. Maeve talked about the hiking club's upcoming trip, about a nest they'd found, about Ms. Patterson's promise to teach them to identify bird calls. Tamsin listened and felt something shift inside her chest. Not closure exactly, not peace, but something close to both. That night, after Maeve went to bed, Tamsin received one final text from her mother. "I hope you're happy." Tamsin stared at it for a long time. She thought about responding, about explaining one more time, about defending herself or attacking back or trying to make her mother understand. Instead, she deleted the message and blocked the number. She poured herself a glass of wine and sat on the back porch. Crickets sang in the darkness. A neighbor's dog barked twice, then quieted. The world moved on, indifferent to the small family drama that had consumed the past 7 months. Tamsin thought about what came next. Normal life, probably. Work and school and hiking clubs and homework. Weekends at the park. Bedtime stories. The quiet accumulation of ordinary days. No more calls from relatives telling her to forgive and forget. No more guilt about protecting her daughter. No more wondering if she was overreacting. Just her and Maeve, building something new, something better. She finished her wine and went inside. 3 months later, Maeve won a school award for her bird sketches. The ceremony was small, just parents and teachers in the gymnasium. Tamsin sat in the front row and watched her daughter walk across the stage, confident and smiling. Afterward, Maeve ran to her. "Did you see?" "I saw. I'm so proud of you. Ms. Patterson says I should enter the county art show." "Then you should." They went out for pizza, sat in their favorite booth. Maeve told elaborate stories about her friends and the hiking club and the blue jay she'd seen that morning. When they got home, Maeve went straight to bed without being asked. She was tired in the good way, from a full day, from being celebrated, from feeling seen. Tamsin sat at the kitchen table and looked at the award certificate. Maeve read, "Excellence in Natural Science Art." She thought about her mother, about Kelsey, about the family she'd left behind. She didn't miss them. She missed the idea of them, the fantasy of who they could have been. But the reality? The reality was better in the rearview mirror. Her phone buzzed. A text from Aunt Joanna. Heard about Maeve's award. "Congratulations. She's lucky to have you." Tamsin smiled and typed back, "Thank you. We're doing well." And they were. No apologies had come. No acknowledgement. No understanding. But Tamsin had something better. She had a daughter who slept through the night, who laughed easily, who felt safe and loved and valued. She had a home where neither of them had to wonder if they mattered. And that was enough. That was everything.